Alright, here we go. We're doing some Age of Sigmar stuff, specifically some goblins, squigs, trolls, that kind of stuff. We're going to start off with the Squig Herder out of the army that I'm building, and I'm going to play here eventually. First off, as always, I want to thank our YouTube members. You guys are amazing. You guys help support this channel. I can't thank you guys enough for every single thing that you guys do for me and for this channel. You guys are amazing. If this is your first time with the channel, or if you are a returning person and have watched multiple videos, hit that subscribe button. You got nothing to lose. You know? Watch some videos, learn how to paint a couple things pretty easy. This one's going to be pretty simple. Without further ado, let's go. Obviously, after building your model, you're going to spray paint it with black. You can use spray paint, you can use airbrush, whatever you feel like. If I'm doing a whole bunch, I'm going to use an airbrush. That's what I do. After it is completely dry, I hit it with a dry brush of Mechanicus Standard Gray. This is going to start making it easier to pick out items to paint and what to paint with. After that, we're going to do a very, very, very light dry brush of white. We want the emphasis on the face, on the bagpipes it's doing, and a little bit on the back. After that, we are going to mix about a 50-50 ratio of contrast medium and black Templar together in a little well, and we're going to use this on our black cape. This saves so much time, and that's what we're looking for. You're going to get the highlighting from the dry brush out there, but you're not going to have to do any edge dressing on there, and it's going to pop right through. So it works out pretty good, and it's an easy way to paint your goblins who have black robes. Starting with the skin, we're going to be using some Oruk Flesh, which is a perfect color for these goblins to start off with. It's a base color. Obviously, you're going to do the face. You can get the eyeballs because we're going to paint over them here in a little bit. Ears, hands. Make sure you get the hand underneath the bagpipe for our Squig Herder. And if you've been watching the series for Age of Sigmar, you're going to notice that how we paint our squigs is basically the same thing how we do for the bagpipe here. I'm assuming it's a bagpipe. It's a goblin bagpipe made out of a squig. That's just my assumption. Somebody can correct me in the comments. I'd like to really know because I don't know much of the lore of the goblins. We're going to use Baal Red on this thing. And again, don't worry about, just be careful. Try not to get it on the green skin. We're going to use some Wraith Bone on the pipes that are coming out of our Squig bagpipe. The top portions, the three top portions, and then there's a small bottom portion by the hand, and then obviously the little pipe that's coming out of the mouth that our goblin is blowing into. Now you're going to notice from the art that's on the box, this is not the color. We have a little secret. We'll show you here in a little bit how we make it that color. For our little rope that is going around our goblin, we're going to be using some awesome Mournfang Brown. And then here in the next slide, you're going to see the sword being painted. Super simple, Leadbelcher. For our goblin's little coin purse, you're going to use some Rhinox hide on that. Real simple, nothing crazy. And for our little medallion that's sticking down, we're going to use some Retributor Armor. I went with gold. You can use a warp block bronze if you want to make it a little bit more dull bronze-ish like, but goblins like to hoard gold. That's at least how I see it in my brain. And then finally, we are going to use some of that Wraith Bone again on the little pieces that was easy to miss on if you're looking at the left side of the face. little mushroom stands. All right, to create that pipe magic, we're going to take some Seraphim Sepia, and we're going to really pool those top areas, and we want that to dry looking pool. What this is going to do is create that illusion that the pipes go down all the way. You're going to see the dark looking area. Paint the rest of those pipes that color, and that is the magic of creating that color from the box art. I'm sure that when Heavy Metal did it, they did a different way. It took 15 hours, but we're saving time here. Step we forgot to do, probably should have been done in the last step. It really doesn't matter because white dries fast. So you're going to take some white and you're going to paint our eyeballs. Obviously you can see the eyeballs sticking out. Just paint them white real quick. For our goblin skin, we're going to use some Athnian Camoshade. You can use Baal Green if you want. I prefer the camo looking color of our goblins. It doesn't really matter. The Baal Green has a little bit more blue in it. This is not any blue. For our little mushrooms, our goblin is hoarding some Aethermatic Blue, which is a contrast paint, onto our miniature. And then for the last two standard washes, I feel like we use on almost every single miniature. Agrax Earthshade on the brown portions, and then Nuln Oil we're going to use on the sword. That's it. Nothing crazy. We're moving along. We're already almost done. After your wash is completely dry, take some white and re-whiten up those eyes that we're going to paint here in a moment. Now we're going to go with some Blood Angels Red again, which is a contrast paint. If you have something else you want to use, you can use it as well. But the contrast paint works really well on this. And what you want to do is put it in the middle of that eye, and you're going to notice it's going to seep down to the recesses of the eye, and it's going to create that eye effect, that white in the middle. And that's exactly what you want. Just make sure if you get excess in there, you take it out, sop it up, put it on your finger or something, and move on. Now, probably for the focal point of the miniature, we're going to reapply some Oruk Flesh. Now, you don't want to go over every single piece right here. You want to do about 80% of the miniature, focusing on the raised areas of our goblin. Next, you're going to take a 50-50 mix of Oruk Flesh and Nurgling Green, and you're going to go over the same exact areas, maybe just lessening it down. Maybe paint 65% of the miniature now, focusing on the raised areas, keeping the dark areas in the recesses. That's what creates that depth. And when people look at it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. How good did you do? This is amazing. You did so fantastic. And that's what we're looking for. Next, we're going to take some pure Nurgling Green and we're going to work on the raised areas some more. So we're about 50%, 40% on this. Really just building up the lighter greens as we go, because we have two more colors we're going to do, and really focusing on that. You want to focus on the knuckles, the raised fingers, the toesies, the tops of the ears, stuff like that. Coming down to the last two colors before the last one, Nurgling Green and Krieg Khaki. I don't know how to say it. Someone's going to yell at me. I get it. I understand. Same thing we're working on. And now you can see the depth of the color of our goblin. Some parts are greener than others, and that's exactly what you want to create. A flesh-like tone mixed with the green. And for the last subtle bit of green, the light green that we're looking for, some of that Krieg Khaki, whatever you call it, I don't know. Focusing this on the bridge of the nose, the cheekbones, the chin, the tops of the ears, a little bit on the hands and the toesies, and that's it. A lot of work for a little miniature goblin, but it looks fantastic when it's all complete. If you're satisfied with your eyes, don't worry about doing this step. I just wanted to brighten up just a tad bit. I mean, really tiny. You can notice there's not a lot of paint on my end of my brush. We're just doing a little bit in the middle just to brighten up those whites a little bit. Coming down to the wire, we're going to use some Baneblade Brown. Say that 3 times fast. On the raised areas of our belt, followed with a little bit of Karak Stone on our bag, just the edges of it, nothing crazy, not going overboard. Again, this is really optional. You're going to make a million of these if you really want to, and you know, time is of the essence, I guess you could say. A little dry brush and Necron Compund on our sword. You can use Iron Breaker if you wanted to too, it's not a big deal. With the miniature done, the painting itself, we're going to take some Stirland Mud and we're going to make the base of our miniature. Put that on there, let it dry for about 10-15 minutes depending on where you live and how hot or cold the climate is right now. Next, we're going to take some Tyrant Skull and we're going to dry brush the raised areas of our miniature, giving it a little bit of depth and making your army, however you're making your army, you don't need to do it this way, but if you're making your army, this is how I did mine. Next, we're going to take some of that glue, that PVA glue, Elmer's glue, whatever you got, regular school glue, elementary school, bring you back to the day. And then we're going to put some grass on there as well. Again, this is how I am creating my army. You don't necessarily need to do it this way. It's just how I am doing it. If you have your own specific way, do it that way. You want them to be all uniform because they are an army, a unit, a clan, whatever they are. And that is it. That is how I painted my Squig herder. We're going to have some more goblin Squig videos coming up just because I am painting my army and time is getting really short for some reason. It seems like it's disappearing quicker and quicker every day. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all my YouTube members. You guys are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again. I can't thank you guys enough. And if you are watching this for the first time and you're still watching, hit that subscribe button. You ain't got nothing to lose. We're going to do some more Age of Sigmar, some 40k coming up, and obviously more board games without further ado. And that's it.